Art lovers, if you're in New York this week, you are in luck. After successful Maastricht edition in March, TEFAF is back in New York at the historic Park Avenue Armory. Welcome inside the Armory. With nearly 100 galleries participating, it's about 1/3 the size of the Maastricht Fair. I love the special atmosphere of the Armory with floral design by Tom Postma Studio. And if you're interested in the Armory's history, I covered it in one of my previous videos. Just click on the link in the description below. And here's the jewel of the Armory, the Veterans Room, where they have some special programming lined up. While the stands are both on the ground floor in the drill hall and in historic rooms. The focus here is on modern and contemporary art. Lots of familiar galleries on the way: Axel Vervoordt, Zwirner. But there is something for everyone's taste, like fine art paintings at the Richard Green Gallery from London. Noticeably, there is a strong presence of female artists. Take a look at Louise Nevelson's work at Pace, or how the Donna Gallery dedicated their entire booth to Merit Oppenheim. I've never had the chance to explore the design aspect of the fair, but this year I'm changing that. Check out this geometric pattern red bar by Jorge Pardo at Petzel Gallery. And Galerie Mitterrand from Paris is showcasing a stunning collection of works by Claude and François-Xavier Lalanne. It's like entering an animal kingdom here, with crocodiles, fish, monkeys, deer, bunnies, and more. Claude in particular had a fascination with crocodiles. She used store-bought taxidermy to reproduce crocodile parts in her creations. It's truly a fusion of art and design. Fun fact, the gallery's owner is a relative of the former French president. Now, let's make our way to the Wade Thompson Drill Hall. When I was in Maastricht back in March, I came across the Adrian Sassoon gallery booth, filled with ceramics and porcelain. The owner belongs to the illustrious Baghdadi Jewish clan of Sassoons. Currently, there is a big exhibition titled The Sassoons at the Jewish Museum in New York. Adrian Sassoon declined an interview, but he suggested I chat with the talented artist Kate Malone. And since I'm passionate about featuring women in arts, it's a win-win.
I work in 3 areas of ceramics. I work on decorative arts that are here at the Armory, and I've been showing here in the same building for 20 years, different shows with the same art dealer. And I also make public art for schools, hospitals, parks and libraries and things like that, large projects that take
Mainly the UK, right?
Yeah, one in Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore. I've done a big piece for the hospital there. And then I work on glaze technology. And that's the foundation of everything, is the colour. You know, because I love shiny and I love glaze and I love colour. So I'm constantly researching colour and effect, special effects.
Can I ask you what kind of color you use?
Well, this is ceramic glaze.
Okay.
So I make pieces out of clay. They get biscuit fired. So they change from clay to ceramic. And then I glaze them and they get fired again. So every single glaze has a recipe, like a cake has a recipe. And this has red iron oxide in it, 6% probably.
Okay.
And this has
scientific.
2%. Yeah, I mean, it's specific down to 0.2 of a gram. You know, it's really chemistry. So the job is so balanced. You know, one minute I'm working with architects and looking at town planning and buildings and cladding buildings. And the next minute I'm working to 0.2 of a gram to try and invent a new green or a new blue. But in fact, nothing is new, because ceramics has been done for 25,000 years at least by man. And we use the same minerals out of the ground. So it's a timeless timeline. It's a continuum that's such a joy to be a part of, actually.
And can I ask you where you learned this craft art?
Well, I started at school. I was at a big government school, actually. And we did pottery and metalwork and woodwork and sewing and cookery as part of the national curriculum. It was very good back then. It's not so good now. And I could talk for hours about education and the importance of that. But that's where I fell in love with it. But then I did a 3-year degree and then a 3-year MA at the Royal College of Art. So I had 7 years further education where I just started to chip away at the versatility and the possibilities of clay. Funnily enough, I'm known, this is new work. Obviously I try and show my newest and most exciting work, but I'm very known for pumpkins and pineapples and berries and things that are ripe and very fruitful. And nature is really the core of my inspiration.
Can I ask you about this specific
these pieces,
three
okay.
vases, right? No, 4.
Yeah, well, I had more. Thankfully, I sold
They're
them.
sold,
Yeah.
That's great.
Because when they're orphans until they find a home. So, of course, the money is important because it keeps me going and my team going. And they were inspired by a love of baskets. I love baskets, as many, especially women, I think, love baskets. But also I was studying the ancient form of silk, passementerie, which is the trimmings on curtains and furnishings that was started in the 1700s in France, or it's been done forever, I suppose, plaiting. I mean, plaiting hair is a type of passementerie. As a basket, it's sort of arranging cords. And so this is a pretend, this is a faux really, because this is a body that I covered in a pretend surface of weaving. And I often think of pots as people. So it's a she, I think.
That's
I don't know
nice.
why.
I love it.
She has a lip, a shoulder, a belly, a foot, and it's a corporal thing, a pot, so it's like dressing. And in a way, these moon jars here, these were inspired by 2 pieces that I saw in the British Museum that were 800 years old, and they started as a hexagon at the bottom and top and became round. So I went back to my studio. I was fascinated by the geometry, turning into round and going back to geometry, and I made these, and part of the process was deciding to dress them with these sort of an aura or a fizzy aura of energy. And so this is very much about a moon jar, so it's tradition. It's kind of modern in its sense of pom-poms, like fashion and jewellery and fizzing.
So they are functional. Can you put like
Yeah, some people do
flowers,
use them.
or is it
Yeah,
just piece
I'm not
of
a fan.
art?
Some people. I am an artist, and I feel that I'm an artist. But people can use them as, of course, a vessel is. They say in Asia that an empty vessel is a great compliment, because it can receive knowledge and friendship. And so in a way, to have this in your home as an empty thing, it's great because it's kind of got a space and a presence. But at the same time, I recommend that people maybe take a water bottle and chop the top off, put it in and use it. They can. I mean, I have people who dress. A lady has a giant blackberry and she dressed it with 12 dozen sunflowers. She wrote me a letter about it. I love it. I'm completely addicted to that sense of not knowing what is going to finish at the end of the day.
So when you start, you don't even know what it's going to be at the end?
No, not really. I don't decide about colour when I'm making because they're so separate with ceramics. Normally you have to wait a month for something this size. You have to wait 2 months for it to dry thoroughly.
Wow.
And then glaze it. So the process is so long that through decades of doing it, I've understood that it's no point in planning because you can change your mind. So yeah, and I make things from tiny things to whole buildings, 7 stories high, or pots that weigh a half a ton each. It's been a really amazing career of different scale.
I will definitely check you. There is a website, right?
I have a website. Yeah, Adrian Sassoon has, of course, I have a lovely section of his on work sold. So you can see an archive of the pieces that I've made over the years. But I also have a website that's designed for education. I really believe in education and the strength of creativity in education. So my website is really designed and becoming more designed towards 11 and 18-year-olds. So I also run a charity called Fired Up 4, which is raising money to create studios for after-school clubs so young kids can really benefit from that.
So what's next? Do you have any specific goals for the next, 5 years?
5 years? Well, it will be, 5 or 10 years is to keep opening these studios for the kids because it's so important, especially now. Yeah, noble. I'm a product of education, of being shown it at a young age, and so I continue that. But just to keep making, keep playing, keep surprising myself. I've got a new book coming out this year, my second book, and so I'm looking forward to that.
What's the name?
We haven't decided on the title. It's something to do with the life force or a force of nature. It's about nature. But essentially, a really lovely thing I've been doing is revisiting all my classic pots over time, which has been so relaxing to make pots that I've made before, make them with a new wisdom or a new maturity, I don't know.
Is it more educational or just like a coffee book?
It's a coffee table book, yeah. My first book had lots of technical information and, it's still available and lots of students use it for recipes and techniques. But this one is, much more glossy, glamorous.
Thank you so much. I've had my eye on Robilant+Voena gallery for a while now, and almost at the end of the fair, the moment to meet them has arrived.
My name is Edmondo di Robilant. I'm a partner in a business called Robilant+Voena with my partner Marco. We are dealers in old masters, in 19th century, in modern, in post-war, in pop art, in contemporary sometimes. We have galleries in various areas in Europe. We're in Paris, we're in Milan, London, and we now have a gallery here in New York as well.
But originally you are from London, right?
Originally I'm Italian, from Milan, and my partner is from Turin. But I have lived in England for most of my adult life.
Because you don't have any Italian accent. I spoke with a lot of Italians. You speak British accent.
Well, I've been there for over 50 years, so
Homeland, right?
it's about time that I should speak English properly.
And when was the gallery established? What year?
So the partnership started in about 97. And before that we were sort of trading together and doing deals together, but the actual proper partnership started in 99 when we started doing Maastricht Fair together.
Okay. You have today one of the most beautiful booths. Can you please tell me a little bit about the theme? What is this all about?
There is, as you can see, no theme at all. I mean, it's mostly post-war, quite heavily balanced towards the Italian Milanese post-war. But then we also have works by Weghe, by Warhol, by Kandinsky. So I would hardly call it a theme. I would say that it's a gathering of fine works of art, which we try and juxtapose as much as possible, normally with older things, but in this particular instance, we've kept it all 20th century.
Can you please pinpoint a couple of highlights of the exhibition?
Well, just behind me, we have this beautiful Gothic window made of butterflies by Damien Hirst of 2007. There are a very limited number of these works, and it's quite significant. We also have our Weghe of 1953, which relates to the big mosaic that he did on the outside wall of his museum in Biot. There's a number of these works called murals that relate to the actual works that he did both there and in Milan in the Triennale building, and also in Caracas he did one. So these late works relate to those buildings.
Today is the last day of the show. How was it?
It was very good. We saw a lot of very good people. Like any fair, you always wish you'd worked a bit more, but we can't complain. And a lot of these things are quite, I wouldn't say they're expensive, but I mean they are things that need quite a lot of thinking before they get purchased. And so most times a lot of these conversations that one has here then finish off in a week or two with people making up their minds. So, they're not impulse buy objects. I hope that your viewers and listeners will enjoy having seen the works that we have and will come and visit us soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Stay tuned for more exciting art adventures. See you soon.